So really exciting time for Austal generally. Huge success in the United States. We've gone from 2 programs in the US to 14 programs in the US. We've grown our customer base, not just Navy, but Navy and Coast Guard. And not just shipbuilding, but we're also building nuclear submarine modules in the United States for both the Virginia-class submarines that will come to Australia and the Columbia-class submarines as well. So just a really exciting time. Everywhere I look, there's opportunity for growth, and Austal is just going from strength to strength. The diversification puts a lot more certainty into the business. You know, having the long-term order book, multiple programs, the ability to flex people across programs, the ability to offer people a career for really the first time ever, having that certainty that we've got such a long-dated order book, we can offer people 20 years of work rather than individual projects that we've been successful on in the past. You know, a great decision by government, and it is the most efficient way to do things. It means we can give the customer certainty on program, a much better price, put certainty into our workforce that allows us to attract people, train them, retain them. No boom and bust means we retain that knowledge and we build on the shipbuilding knowledge year on year to deliver better and better products as we grow. And we will need to increase the workforce. So we will need in excess of 1,000 people. The submarine maintenance and life of type extension programs will require more people as well. The visiting US subs will require people to do maintenance. So there's going to be a collective recruitment campaign for WA. I'm confident we can do it. You know, we've been significantly higher than we have been today in terms of overall numbers. And with a career proposition like we have today, being much better than anything we've had before, you know, bringing in young people, new people to the industry, training them, both in terms of capability, in terms of culture, promoting people from within, you know, it creates a really healthy environment for growth of the workforce in WA. Last financial year, we delivered about $1.8 billion of revenue and $113 million of profit. Last week at the AGM, we went out with guidance of record profit this year expected at $135 million. And with the order book that we've talked about, growing the revenue from $1.8 billion to $3 billion in 5 years' time. And that's based on work that we've either won or has been announced. So really exciting time for Austal where we will see good financial growth. I think today, if you look statistically, 85% of our revenue would come from the United States. But relatively, the US business does not grow as quickly as the Australian business is going to grow. So we're going to see that revenue split move to about 60-40 as the strategic shipbuilding agreement comes online and the Australian business really starts firing on all cylinders. Strategic shipbuilding agreement is incredibly exciting for Austal, really transformational for the business. So the government have been incredibly brave and put together a continuous naval shipbuilding program and chosen Austal as their partner in WA. And that brings in years of work for the company and the supply chain. You know, so starting with landing craft medium, moving into landing craft heavy, general purpose frigate, and if you're not tired after all that, then optionally crewed surface vessels as well. So just a really exciting time for Austal, the supply chain, and WA. And government have been very sensible in terms of the build-up of these programs. You know, so today we're building Guardian class and Cape class. Cape class will continue and supply ships for Border Force, as was detailed in the Defence Strategic Review. But moving into landing craft medium, you know, a reasonably simple ship, something we're very familiar with. We then grow in size and scale with the landing craft heavy. That will then transition into the general purpose frigate. And again, general purpose frigate procured in a really sensible way. You know, Defence need these vessels as soon as possible, so I'm in full support of the first 3 vessels being built in Japan, and then Austal will help transfer that technology, that build technique, build strategy back to Australia for the remaining 8 vessels, and then optionally crewed surface vessels on the end. And optionally crewed and autonomy, something Austal's very familiar with. A few years ago, we delivered the largest autonomous vessel in the United States Navy, EPF-13. We've worked on the Overlord program, we've worked on the Sail Drone program. Here in Australia, we bought one of the old Armidale vessels, converted that to have autonomous capability with Green Room Robotics based just around the corner from us in Freo. That vessel was able to sail itself up and down the west coast with nobody touching their controls. So Austal, very ready, very familiar with autonomous technology. So Austal, very confident in shipbuilding, very confident in integrating systems on ships. We will not go and develop the technology. We're not going to make the black boxes and the algorithms integrate the sensors. We will use a specialist like Greenroom to do that and integrate it onto the vessels that we build, creating that autonomous capability. Greenroom, very dynamic, young company, a whole lot of clever people. And what I really like about them is they come up with solutions and they deliver. So we've worked with them in some very short time scales, and the technology and the confidence they bring and the ability to execute really aligns with Austal's belief in delivering on our commitments and making sure the customer gets what they want when we've committed to it. A lot of work is going to be required in Henderson to create the defence precinct. The governments have announced that that's what they want to make. It's got to integrate shipbuilding, it's got to integrate submarine maintenance. I guess the good news for us is landing craft medium will be built in our existing facilities. Landing craft heavy will probably require additional facilities due to the size and weight of that vessel. But facilities exist, like the common user facility. It is there. We're working with defence, we're working with the WA government to build that plan of how we will get on with the early ships while the defence precinct is established, designed, and then built. So there is a plan coming together that makes sure shipbuilding programs, maintenance programs have a home for the long term. So there'll be a lot of collaboration. There are multiple owners on the Henderson precinct strip. There are multiple delivery organizations. It's not just Austal. You've got BAE there, you've got Civmec there, you've got Babcock there. So everyone will work together with defence to come up with the right answer for the Henderson precinct. Aluminium versus steel is a question I get a lot. If you think about it, back in 2016, we started the Guardian class program. So Guardians have a steel hull with an aluminium superstructure, and we really had no problem. Fabricating in steel, I think, is actually easier than aluminium due to the mechanical properties and how you weld it. So having people that are well trained and very skilled in aluminium, it was quite an easy transition into steel. Of course, going forward, these ships get bigger and heavier steel, but I think we've got the capabilities to be able to transition into the bigger ships. So the relationship with Army is fantastic. We have started bonding, collaborating, partnering with them, understanding what they need, when they need it, how we can best deliver. If there are any changes that they require, we've got an amazing design capability. This will be a long-term relationship. 18 landing craft medium, 8 landing craft heavy. It's going to be a very long-term relationship. We've got a great relationship with Navy, great relationship with Border Force, and now we're building a great relationship with Army. So I'm really excited about where that can go in the future. So we have a new chairman, Richard Spencer, who was the 76th Secretary of the United States Navy. First time we've had a chair other than our founder, John Rothwell, who has been there obviously since the company started. So, a really well-controlled transition between John, happy to hand over the reins to Richard, and Richard having knowledge of the US system and how it operates has really been a great benefit to the company. So very excited to have Richard on board. He knows shipbuilding, he knows maritime, a great addition to the team, and we've got a great working relationship. Indo-Pac is a great show, whether it's the naval attendants, the foreign delegations, industry contacts, it's a great opportunity to meet, exchange ideas, very efficient way to do business. So we love attending Indo-Pac. Our team have done an amazing job with the stand this year. I think that shows by the level of activity and the general buzz. And the sheer number of models we've got on the stand just demonstrate the strength and breadth that Austal has in shipbuilding. So great show for us, very excited to be here.